Today, American Sports Cavalcade presents coverage of the Daytona 125 Supercross by Honda from Daytona International Speedway in Daytona Beach, Florida. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Daytona 125 Supercross. I'm Steve Evans. If you happen to think the 125s are the lounge act of Supercross, you couldn't be more wrong. These athletes, mostly in their middle teens, ride with a hunger and an abandon seldom seen in motorsports. And they do it for a variety of reasons. A, it's a lot of fun. B, girls think it's cool. And C, most importantly, win some races, keep your nose clean. You might land a big, fat factory contract equal to the stick and ball boys. They're really riding for a lifestyle. And one rider has that within his grasp. Ralph Shaheen is with him.
You know, Steve, when I was 16, I was stressed out over how I was going to do on my science test the next day. Well, Robbie Reynard, who rides for Kawasaki's got a different problem. Robbie is Kawasaki's future, the Supercross program. How do you deal with that kind of corporate stress at the age of 16?
I really don't worry about it. I just go out there and do the best I can and have fun at it.
Here we are at the biggest race of the year for you, and now you've got to not only win for Kawasaki, but you got to beat Ezra Lusk, who has won 4 in a row. Is he unstoppable?
I think so. I'm just gonna go out there and I feel pretty good out there, and I dropped in behind him and he looked really pretty good, and he's been riding really good all season, and I'm just gonna go out there and just try to beat him.
How much difference is there in the mental attitude of a guy running 125 who's say 18 and a guy who's running 125 who's 16? Can you dominate if you're 18 in this class?
You should be able to. I proved that this year, you know, all the experience that I've had the past 2 years riding and just sticking it up front. Last year I crashed a lot, and I haven't crashed one time this year while leading the main event, so I feel real comfortable. It just makes you not so nervous, and your arms usually pump up if you're real nervous and tense, and I haven't had any arm pump this year, and I've been riding really smooth. It's just the experience.
Steve, I never did real well at chemistry, but obviously Ezra Lusk is getting straight A's in the science of Supercross. Now we just have to find out how quick a learner Robbie Reynard is.
I was such a slow learner in chemistry, I blew up the lab in high school, but that's another story. The format for today is 2 heat races where 9 transfer to the main event. The ones that don't transfer will run at Conzi. Each heat route will be 6 laps on a diabolical course over a mile long, laid out by the Professor Gary Bailey. It is truly physically punishing, even for these young guys.
Daytona is always the toughest Supercross of the season, but this time Gary Bailey built the toughest Daytona Supercross we've ever seen. He even threw in an extra set of triples. If the first ones don't get you, the second ones will.
And whether the 125 bikes can clear the triples remains to be seen. We're about to find out. Pole shot is so important in Supercross. Who will it go to?
Into the first turn, Steve. Oh, we got a big pileup in the middle of the pack. About 4 or 5 riders down, and there you see bike number 92. That's Mike Brown. And then it looks like the 96 machine involved as well. That's Craig Nowak on the Suzuki. And there you see Jimmy Button out in front. The tall, lanky rider, bike number 34. The Suzuki factory rider, as number 66 finally gets going.
Button is expected to ride with the likes of Ezra Lusk to be very, very competitive, and he's showing his stuff, strutting his stuff, as a matter of fact. And no, they cannot clear the triple.
The 125 bikes, it's real hard to get up and over the triples as we take a look at number 37. That is Scott Sheik. Sheik should do real well here at Daytona. He's a strong young rider riding on the Yamaha. We expect good things out of him. Most of these riders now, of course, between the ages of 16 and 18. As we take a look, running in 3rd place, Doug Dehan on Suzuki number 204.
Also, Tim Perry, number 28. He is challenging for the 3rd place, trying to pass that rider 208.
That's a Honda. You can usually tell the one thing about Supercross and motocross racing, you can tell the bike just by its colors. Suzuki's are usually yellow, Hondas are red, Kawasaki's, of course, are the Kawasaki green, and you'll see the Yamahas in the bright white.
A huge battle shaping up here for 3rd position on the yellow machine. That is Doug Dehan trying to get around him. He's number 28, Tim Ferry, on the Honda. Ferry up off the seat, using his legs as his shock absorber. Tremendous suspension fore and aft on these flyweight 125s. About 175 pounds, the motorcycle.
Steve, it looks like Ferry is getting through the whoop sections a lot better. The number 28 rider, of course, that we're talking about. Look how he gets through these bumps here.
And there is Tim Ferry on the Honda making the pass on Dehane in what Ralph referred to as the hoop section. Used to be hoop-de-doos, and they just shortened it to hoops. Whatever it is, it makes your arms about 6 inches longer before you got on a motorcycle.
Let's take a look at that start line crash. Here's the first angle. This is what the guys in the starting gate saw. You see one rider just clipping the inside bales, doing everything they can to get an extra spot into turn number 1, and that causes the big chain reaction.
Well, it's really the domino theory. Actually, it's no longer a theory. This proves it to be accurate. Down they go. And that's one of the reasons these riders will go so hard in the heat, trying to get a good gate position to avoid that kind of entanglement.
That's right. Mike Brown in there, Matt Shue, number 990, we saw down in there, Steve Herman in there as well. And back up now, we're seeing Tim Ferry on bike number 28, still running hard and challenging with the number 37 machinist, Scott Sheik.
So that puts Tim Ferry in second place, thinking Button, who's got the button? Well, Jimmy Button is way, way out front. I doubt that he'll catch him. But still, placing second for Ferry will buy him a very good gate position in the main event.
Absolutely, and that is really going to come into play. You saw how tricky it was getting through turn number 1, the start of this heat. When we get a few more riders out there for the main event, gate position will mean quite a bit in getting a good start here this afternoon.
Well, one thing's for sure on these 125s, they'll seldom wear out a front tire. It's off the ground about half the time in this course. Oh, we got the Australian rider. That is Greg Nicholson on the Kawasaki. He was not really in contention. Now he's just become another obstacle for him to ride around. Jimmy Button leads it, followed by Tim Ferry, Scott Sheik, Doug Dehane, and Barry Karsten on the Suzuki. Stay with us. We'll have a lot more from Daytona International Speedway. Welcome back to Daytona and the 125 Supercross by Honda. Watch closely. Craig Nicholson, the Australian rider on the Kawasaki. This is part of the dues paying we talked about earlier, and he does it big time, especially the position of that left handle grip. Ooh.
And the weight just got shifting around on him, Steve, and he could just never get it back underneath him, and he went flying over the handlebars. You see, when he's racing over here in the States, he's now calling Piedmont, South Carolina home, originally from Australia.
Doug Dehane on the Suzuki 204 back in 4th, followed by Barry Karsten on the Suzuki in 5th. The 97 Chad Lowe, that's another Suzuki. He's in that 6th spot on a battle for 7th. Number 79, Nathan Ramsey on the Yamaha 701. Anthony Pocoroba on the Suzuki, and 92 on the Honda. That's Mike Brown.
It's a great battle, Steve. All three of these riders very young, very aggressive. Hard chargers, all looking to move up to the 250 rank soon. And look at Mike Brown go to the outside there and make a nice, solid move. He'll pick up one position.
And the 701 bike, Anthony Pocoroba, that Suzuki, he got by Nathan Ramsey on the Yamaha for 7th. And now Mike Brown is in there as well. And Chad Lowe on the Suzuki 97, he's just trying to hang on to that 6th position. Remember, only the top 9 transfer.
He's about to get a lot of company right here. Oh, and they get together with Pocoroba going down hard.
Oh, he did. He was trying to pass Chad Lowe and maybe tried just a little bit too hard.
And it looked like Chad didn't see him coming on the outside, and they just got together, and that was it.
All right, back to the race for the 6th position there. Mike Brown, number 92 on the red Honda, challenging Chad Lowe on the Suzuki.
Now trying to make the move to the inside. It was a good idea, but just not enough room. But look how much better he gets through the whoop section there, Steve, and that's going to make the difference for Brown.
Yeah, Brown is a far faster rider now than he was on the opening laps. Maybe getting used to this course, not taking any chances, making sure he gets a top 9 finish.
So far, we've seen 2 Honda riders, Mike Brown and Tim Ferry, both get through the whoop sections very well. Maybe there's something about the suspension on the Hondas this year that are allowing them to get through there a little bit better.
All right, there's 56 Jeff Curry on the Kawasaki, who has passed 97 Chad Lowe on the Suzuki.
Nathan Ramsey on the 79 trying to hang on to the backside of that group, but he's going to have to get going here in a hurry because he's sitting in about 9th position there, Steve, and that is the cutoff point.
The good news, though, for Ramsey is the top 9 seem to have put some distance between themselves and the rest of the pack. I don't know if it's a comfortable margin. We'll just have to wait and see.
It is a little bit of breathing room, but you know, you got to think about that gate position if you're in this top group. Every one of those spots that you can pick off will help you when you line up for the main event.
Well, Doug Dehane just moved up one as he wheeled his Suzuki, that 204 bike, past Jeff Curry on the Kawasaki for that 5th position.
You can see some of the riders really stretching out some of those triples and coming real close, making a nice, solid, clean jump on the triples. And that's tough on a 125.
Look at Mike Brown in the red Honda. He tries a berm shot, wicks it on, and hopes that'll give him some momentum out of the corner to get around Barry Karsten on the Suzuki.
It worked out beautifully, and you can see them also working the triples there. And coming along with this group, bike number 56, Jeff Curry. He's moving through here as well as they all get around Karsten. There's our leader right there, number 34. We haven't seen Jimmy Button at all, Steve, because he is so far out in front.
And he's on the last lap, profiling a little bit for the fans and the photographers, his kids. The bottom line is fun, really. Everybody may be looking for a career in motocross, but if you can't have fun doing it, park it.
This is a tall, lanky rider. Jimmy Button towers over everybody else. He's well over 6 feet tall, thin, strong kid, built real well. Looks more like a basketball player than he does a motocross.
But height, for some reason, has never really handicapped motocross riders. Look at Rick Johnson, too tall, Mike Bell years ago. Height is not necessarily a disadvantage. In road racing, yes. In motocross, no.
Let's take a look at the interval back between first and second. There you see Button going through one section of whoops, and Tim Ferry coming out of one corner and heading down another. About 3-4 seconds between the two.
And look at the air time Jimmy Button, our leader, just got there. And, of course, behind him, and I'm not sure too intent to try to catch him, is number 28, Tim Ferry on the Honda. So you've got a good mix of motorcycles in the top 9.
That's right. Ferry at this point knows exactly where he is. He knows that there's no sense in killing himself to try to catch Jimmy Button. He's got a nice, solid second-place finish. He'll get a good spot on the gate, and the checker flag will wave for Jimmy Button.
And a very athletic finish for the young man on the number 34. Suzuki will like his style today.
He rode great in that first heat, Steve. A nice, smooth ride for Jimmy Button. It looked like the Suzuki was producing plenty of power as he was clearing the triples with ease. There's Tim Ferry. Nice, solid ride for him. And here comes a battle for the last few spots.
And that is number 37, Scott Sheik on the Yamaha, 92, Mike Brown on the Honda, 56, Jeff Curry on the Kawasaki, and they will finish that way, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So here's the official results. Jimmy Button, nice effort. Tim Ferry on the Honda, you saw him second. Then Sheik on the Yamaha, and Mike Brown on yet another bright red Honda. 6, 7, and 8 are all Suzuki, Barry Karsten, DeHane, and Chad Lowe. And a big sigh of relief from number 79, Nathan Ramsey. His Yamaha got the bump spot, the bubble, number 9. And a nice finish for Bocaroba, who fell and still got 10. Stay with us on American Sports Cavalcade. We'll be back to Daytona Beach, Florida.
Welcome back to the Daytona 125 Supercross by Honda here on American Sports Cavalcade. Jimmy Button was the winner of heat number 1 here at Daytona Beach, and he's with our Steve Evans.
Before this day is over, this could be another Ezra-Jimmy Button shootout.
Yeah, it certainly should be. We're both riding really well today. The Suzukis are running excellent. We've been doing a lot of testing this week, and our suspension's coming along great. And the track out here today in Daytona is extremely rough.
Everybody loves it, though.
Yeah, it's good for the fans. It's good for us because it breaks up the Supercross series a little bit. We're used to being inside the confined stadiums. You don't have the weather to deal with inside and stuff like that. And it's a rough track. It's quite a bit different. It's long also. So that, our motos are usually about 15 minutes, and today there's going to be about 21, 22 minutes. So, you got to be strong, and you certainly got to be able to hold it on through the rough stuff because it does get really rough here.
Nice ride.
Thank you.
Ralph?
Well, Tim, you really had to work hard to catch up into that second place finish, but it looked like the whoop section was where you were making your speed. Is that a good spot for you?
Yeah, usually it is. That moto, I didn't feel really good through there, but I think in the main I can get it together.
What's the key to going fast through a whoop section?
I don't know. I think the faster you go through it, the easier it is, and the bike's running really good, and I think I can do it in the main.
Well, Steve, if he didn't feel good through that heat, we'll have to keep our eyes on him later on. He should be quick. Tim Ferry, second place.
And already at the gate, 20 more riders, same deal, 6 laps, 9 will go to the main event, the rest to the Conti. And here is a good look at Davey Yizik on the Honda, number 46. A lot of people like his style from Mount Pleasant, Pennsylvania. Wicking that throttle, trying to keep the spark plug clean. And also number 33, a guy you really like, Ralph, the Kawasaki-mounted Robbie Raynard.
He is so quick. He's young. He's only 16 years of age. He's got a lot to learn, but he's definitely on his way up. And how can you not like this guy, Ezra Lusk, out of Bainbridge, Georgia? He's 18 years old. Already knows how to work the sponsors into the TV show. He is on his way up, Steve.
I tell you, these kids are all pretty hot. Jimmy Button, he is not exactly a man of few words. All right, look at the starting gate. It is treacherous. It falls towards you. Try to anticipate it. You might just center punch it, go over the handlebars.
Off we go, down into turn number 1. This time, everybody gets clean. One rider pushed all the way out onto the banking of the speedway. There you see Robbie Reynard in the 33 coming right into your living room. And a big pile up in the whoop-de-doo section here.
Oh, yeah, that was just horrible. James Eichel on the Honda, number 99. 54, Bruce Stratton is down with his Suzuki. Jeff May has his Suzuki on top of him, number 323. But the rest just thunder off. No regard for the downriders.
Your leader is number 17, Ezra Lusk. You saw him get around number 51, Chad Pedersen there coming out of the turn. And up there with them is bike number 16, John Dowd on the Yamaha.
And John Dowd is really making some progress here. Dowd on that number 16 bike. He's going to try to take second place. Here he comes.
Boy, they're putting a lot of pressure up on those top three riders. There are a lot of moving, a lot of fast riding going on in there.
And just now completing one lap. And Dowd is down, number 16, running in second. John Dowd, it appeared, Ralph, that he caught that left boot, couldn't get it up onto the peg, and it ruttered him right into the dirt.
Just like throwing an anchor out, Steve. It just yanked him right down and under. There you see Pedersen battling with Reynard. That is now the battle for second. Ezra Lusk, still your leader on the Suzuki.
But I tell you, Robbie Reynard on that Kawasaki, he looks like he'd really like to go out and try to catch Lusk if he can. He's super aggressive.
He is riding real well, and this is just what the guys at Kawasaki like about Robbie Reynard. They like his youth and his youthful enthusiasm. Problem is his consistency. Robbie Reynard has got to get a little bit of that, which will come with experience.
Well, he just picked off second place from Chad Pedersen, and now Robbie Reynard on that Kawasaki is going to try to reel in Ezra Lusk.
Lusk is also a very, very strong rider. He's got 2 years on Robbie Reynard. He's 18 years of age, and at this level of racing, the difference between 18 and 16 can be quite a bit.
And Ezra seems to have a little pacing to his heat race here. He knew he had a comfortable lead, so he, rather than beat up his machine and himself, he kind of backed up. He can't afford to do that now if he wants to win the heat. It's not imperative, but as we've impressed upon you before, the better the gate position, the better your chance of not being caught up in one of those scrambles at the start.
It really does make a big difference, because as everything tries to funnel down into one lane at turn one, where you started from can make a big difference on how quickly you get to turn one.
And there is Chad Pedersen on the Yamaha, safely in that third position. And just behind him is Davey Usyk on the Honda. He's in the 4th spot. Top 9 are all safe, but still, prestige, ego, and gate position at stake.
And there's the best battle brewing right there. Ezra Lusk leading Robbie Reynard, the veteran of 125s, if you can be one. Ezra Lusk, and look at Ezra makes the mistake.
He got into a rut that got at his front wheel right into one of those wrapped up bales. Can he restart this bike? I hope so, because it'll be fun to watch him go. Did he salvage a top 9? At this point, I do believe he did.
He's inside the top 9, but Robbie Reynard is now the leader, Steve, and that is a huge boost for that youngster.
But he knows that lurking back there somewhere is Ezra Lusk, hot on the gas. In Daytona Beach, Florida, I'm Steve Evans along with Ralph Shaheen. And Ralph, let's take a look at the 3 incidents that have kind of marred this heat.
This is number 1. You can see a couple of riders getting together in the middle there. Bike number 99, James Eichel. Bruce Stratton on the 54, number 323, Jeff May. And just pandemonium breaks out in the middle of the whoops.
All right, here's the second incident. And kids, when your dad says teaching you to ride, keep your feet on the pegs, here's what he means. Watch John Dowd on the Yamaha. Everything's cool. Got no problem. Except this left boot, which he's going to drag right there and kicks himself into the bale.
That's a hard way and a very frustrating way to go down. It's like hitting ice on a car. Just, you're going down. There's nothing you can do about it. And then this one, Ezra Lusk, he just gets that front wheel in the rut, throws him off balance, and here comes the hay bale.
Doink. But out there right now is Ezra Lusk, coming on strong with that number 17 Suzuki. It'll be interesting to see how far to the front he can get. What can he salvage out of that? There he is.
Well, that's what we're seeing out of Ezra Lusk. As you see, he sits in 5th place right now, trying to catch our leader, Robbie Reynard. Ezra is a real fighter. He's got that championship contender in him. He bounced right back up from that crash, didn't let it get to him, shook it off, got on the bike, and went chasing after Robbie Reynard.
I'll tell you what, watch him, kids. Turn on the VCR. This is a clinic in 125 riding.
Without a doubt. He has really got it figured out on how to make one of these 125s go well. Everybody figures that Ezra Lusk is going to be the guy to beat this year. He's already won 4 Supercrosses coming into this round. This is Ezra Lusk's series for 1994.
and he is so quick through the hooks, they almost didn't exist for him. That was incredible.
He's just skimming right over the top of the surface.
And up ahead of Ezra is Davey Izik on the Honda number 46, trying to pass Chad Pedersen on the Yamaha for second, and he did it.
Nice move. Again, another one of the Honda riders getting through the whoop section so well today. That's 3 times we've seen that where the Hondas have capitalized on that. And look at Ezra Lusk get by Chad as well.
You know, from a spectator and a television standpoint, Ezra going down was the best thing that could have happened, because now we're really seeing a show. Up in front of Ezra next is Davey Izik on the red Honda. Ezra goes to the outside, wicks it on. Watch the different lines these two riders will take. Izik trying to defend himself. He's in that second spot. Doesn't want to have to move down one on the gate. Here comes Ezra. Ezra going to the inside. And he's got it. Whoa, and Izik, he is totally out of control, but manages to stay on the bike. I believe they call that a tank slapper.
Boy, he was riding way over the edge, Davey was, to keep himself in contention, but Ezra was just flawless through that section, Steve. His nickname is Yogi. He had that since he was a kid. Nobody really seems to know why. It's not really a racing-related thing, but everybody calls him Yogi.
Almost anything's better than Ezra when you're a kid.
When you're out front like that, though, Steve, pretty soon his nickname's going to be Champ.
Or Fast. All right, number 46, Davey Izik on the Honda. He's back into this thing. John Dowd, number 16 on the Yamaha. Kevin Klein, they're all battling for that fourth, I mean, really battling for the fourth position.
This is definitely a contact sport, as you will see. Here comes Dowd around the outside. He'll use the berm. There's always 2 lines through every one of these corners. Some guys go in low and get on the gas and try to wick around to the outside. And look at Dowd making the move.
Dowd is now solidly in the fourth position as he gets by 46, Davey Izik.
And he's going to go right after Pedersen here in a heartbeat.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, number 46, Davey Izik, he is not going to give up on that position. He's still trying to get around Dowd. I think he's mad.
Well, Davey did a good job of bringing the bike to a stop. He didn't crash going through that whoop section when he was battling with Ezra. He got it back under him, and he's back in contention. And here's Reynard back out front now.
You know, Rob, it doesn't look like he can be caught, but we have to remember who the pursuer is. Right there, Mr. Lusk.
I think at this point, Ezra, he's found his rhythm again. You'll be happy with that. He's not going to push it too hard to catch Robbie on this last lap. He's going to take that good gate position and go for the win in the main event.
Kind of fun to watch the fight for third there. The yellow Yamaha, that is John Dowd, just putting the wheel down at 51 Chad Pedersen, and Davey Izik in the Honda's back there as well.
Here's your gap between first and second. There's Robbie and there's Ezra. You know, the thing about Robbie Reynard is he was like a top draft choice. Every one of the major manufacturers courted him as he came out of the amateur ranks last year. At the age of 15 and a half, Steve, he had mega dollar contracts handed to him because at 16 he could go pro, and everybody wanted Robbie Reynard to ride their motorcycle, and he signed with the big green Kawasaki.
Well, there's a lot of correlations to professional baseball. If a kid is good coming out of high school, it doesn't matter how small the town, a scout will find him.
Well, the scouts for Kawasaki were Roy Turner and Mark Johnson, and they did their job. They have found Robbie Reynard, and he brings them heat number 2 win.
And here comes Ezra Lusk. He made one mistake that cost him the checkered flag, but still has a good position on the gate. And what a show he's still putting on as he finishes second. It is important for the manufacturers to win here in the 125s. They're responsible for about 40% of the dirt bikes sold worldwide. All right, here are the results. Reynard, as you saw, on the Kawasaki, followed by Suzuki with Lusk, Yamaha with Dowd, Yamaha with Pedersen, Honda with Izik. Finishing 6th on another Honda was Kevin Klein. Ty Wallace on the Honda 7th, Mike Treadwell on a Honda 8th, and wrapping it up in the 9th spot, Jeff Yenser on a Kawasaki, bike number 91. A huge crowd looking on, and looking for our winner is Ralph Shaheen.
Well, Steve, he's going to school and doing well in the first class of the day, Robbie Reynard. That's a straight A right there. Were you putting a lot of pressure on him at all to get him to go down like that, or did you see what happened to him?
Yeah, I caught him, and I tried to make a couple passes, and I showed him a couple wheels and a couple corners, and then he started making a couple mistakes, and I just took advantage for it, and I just went on, and I made a couple mistakes myself. I kept it on 2 wheels, and my bike's working good, and I just want to go out there in the main event and do the same thing.
Well, that's a good first step going up against Ezra now and being able to put the pressure on him. Did you learn anything? How will you attack him in the main?
Hopefully I can get the start and not worry about him, just pull away. But if I have to, I'm just going to go out there and do the best I can and pull up on him and try to make some passes. If I can't get around him, I'll just save it for the end of the moto and try my hardest to get him at the end of the moto.
Well, Steve, for the first paper of the weekend, Robbie Reynard gets a gold star.
Ezra, scary moment there.
Yeah, I just got a little out of shape in the sand hoops, and I ran into a hay bale. It's no big deal. I didn't get hurt, didn't bend anything. We're going to make a few changes on the bike, and hopefully it'll be better for the main event.
I know you were watching that first heat. Jimmy Button looks strong. You guys may have another run in.
Yeah, it'll be great if Suzuki can get one, too. We've been getting it all year. Our bikes are running really good and really strong, and our show suspension's working good out there on that rough stuff, and we're just going to hopefully get out front at the beginning and not have any problems.
Nice comeback.
Thanks a lot.
Ralph?
John, is the track getting rutted up out there?
Yeah, it's starting to. They fixed it up right before the race, but it's kind of soft, a little bit of soft dirt, so it's going to rut up, I think, for the main races.
What direction will you go with your bike now that you're into the main?
Actually, the bike's working pretty good. I think I'm just going to go back to the truck and rest and try to get psyched up for the main.
Steve?
We're all pretty psyched up for the main event, but maybe not as much as the kids that have to ride the 125 last chance qualifier. They got one more shot at making the main event. It is do it or lose it. We're back at the World Center of Racing, Daytona Beach, Florida. I'm Steve Evans along with Ralph Shaheen. And Ralph, anything can happen in the consolation race. It usually does. It's desperation time.
You've got 4 laps to make it into the main event. 4 riders will go to that main event. There you see David Gaylord, bike number 66. Here's a look at the number 105 of Patrick Barton on his Suzuki. Any one of these guys could transfer. It could even be number 364, Chris Brown.
And a rider to watch will be number 701, Anthony Pocaroba on his Suzuki. Remember, he had a good shot at making the top 9 until he fell off. Still salvaged the 10th and just barely had to ride this. It's just 4 more laps of punishment on your body and your machine. Look at Michael, 99, the red bike. What a great start. Oh, we have got a terrific pileup, Ralph.
Steve, and it was Eichel that instigated that whole problem. As you see, all the riders, including Anthony Pocaroba in their number 701. Eichel got a tremendous hole shot down the inside, got together with one of the riders, looked like a Suzuki rider, and then it just went down from there. But Eichel got through. In fact, he is running in 3rd right now.
But up front is 105, Patrick Barton on the Suzuki, followed by 54, Bruce Stratton on another Suzuki. Eichel, I believe, back to 3rd now.
Yep, there he is, bike number 99, the red Honda. And, of course, only 4 riders transfer.
Look at this. On the outside, it is Bruce Stratton. And he is maybe going to take the lead. He sure trying to. Wheeling into the whoops. Just about lost it there. Got a foot off the peg. Bruce Stratton on number 54 wants it bad.
Boy, it's hard to decide what the right strategy is for this race. You don't want to go too hard. As you can see, Stratton is really riding on the edge here. He wants to win, but at the same time, you want to make sure you make the main event. How hard do you push? Now we've got a new leader. It's Stratton.
That's right, and 9 do not go out of the conti, only 4, so it's a bit tougher. Watch the top 4.
And that final transfer spot right now belongs to bike number 48. It's a Suzuki, and it's being ridden today by Brian Carroll.
And this course rides a bit differently than most Supercross layouts because Gary Bailey has used lots and lots of sand, which is a very readily available commodity around Daytona Beach.
That's what makes this track so tough. Not only that it's long, I mean, these guys ride the outdoor motocrosses as well, but it's the fact that the sand is so thick that it really weights you down. And it takes a lot of extra effort, not only on the part of the motorcycle, horsepower-wise, but on the rider to fight that bike around that thick sand all afternoon long.
And between motos, Professor Gary Bailey brings out the heavy equipment and tries to put some of this dirt back where he originally put it. But it's like letting 1,000 mountain goats loose on a hillside. They're going to do some damage.
Well, as you know, sand is very soft, so what happens is you get a lot of big, thick ruts at this racetrack, and that just compounds the problem already.
Well, that's why you work so hard at the gym. Professor Bailey is going to challenge you.
Here's the battle for 3rd place right now. Bike number 99, that is James Eichel. Remember, Eichel was involved in that first lap incident. He is trying to hang on to 3rd over Brian Carroll on the number 48. Here's a look at the number 54 machine. That is Bruce Stratton, our leader.
And the downside of transferring out of the Consi, you're going to get a lousy gate position, and you're going to be far more tired than the riders you're up against. To win it out of the Consi is very difficult and not done often.
No, it certainly isn't, but the only advantage here is if you can win the Consi, at least you get your name as a winner in something, and you do make the main event. There is a little bit of, I don't know, prestige is the right word, but you do get some recognition, and you do make the main event.
Well, it's a sign of grit in a rider. If he can come out of the Consi and get in the top 10 in the main, he's had a hell of an afternoon.
And sometimes you can end up in the Consi for lots of reasons, just like Anthony Pocaroba had a nice, probably a transfer spot going in his heat before an incident forced him to finish 10th. He just misses the main, or the straight transfer to the main, so he is forced to go through it. Doesn't necessarily mean that you were slow. Maybe you just had a bad break.
And for you kids at home that have a 125 bike or lust after one, these are basically production machines. They've got a few race tricks on them. They're race prepared, but they're not that far off what you find on the Honda showroom floor, Yamaha, Suzuki, Kawasaki.
That's why the factories like this stuff. If Patrick Barton wins on his Suzuki number 105, there'll be a lot of sales of 125.
To be motocross riders, this could happen. Bring the Band-Aids. Watch the 99 bike, the Honda of Jimmy Eichel. He had a hole shot, but he's part of the problem.
He pushed everybody deep, and he did not give an inch, and everybody was forced to get together. He powers through, and the rest of them go down in a big heat.
Hey, desperate men do desperate things, but no injuries whatsoever. All right, let's, 105. Patrick Barton, his Suzuki may be giving him trouble. He pulled off the course running second.
Yeah, it didn't sound real good at all when he pulled off, Steve. It's hard to tell what went wrong with the bike, but I would bet you it's definitely a mechanical problem.
Well, there is our leader, number 54, Bruce Stratton, on the Suzuki. He is on the final lap, mercifully, the final lap of this consolation, and not exactly riding all out, Ralph Shaheen.
No, at this point, he's got to save a little energy for the main event. He just put in an extra 4 laps around this course, and he's going to try to just get it home quickly, safely, and smoothly, and not try to expend any extra energy.
The danger, though, in doing that is losing your concentration and doing something stupid. You've still got to look ahead. The track is changing all the time. There may be an obstacle there that wasn't there the lap before. You just can't have a mental slowdown.
Well, no, you can't, especially in this. All those loop sections, there's an uneven rhythm in there, and you've got to be able to concentrate and find a rhythm that works for you. So you don't want to let up too much, because you're going to get off balance in a hurry, and then you can happen just like what did to Ezra Lutz.
All right, let's take a look at the interval through the top 4. We saw Bruce Stratton there leading. Jimmy Eichel on the Honda number 99 is second. Brian Carroll on the Suzuki 48, he's third. And Craig Nowak, Suzuki 96 is fourth. And that is the bump spot, and Craig knows it. He's not riding easy.
No, he's got to get himself in that main event. And here's going to be the checkered flag for our winner, Mr. Stratton.
And he'll be joined soon on the sidelines there by James Eichel on the Honda number 99, who finished in the second spot. Suzuki picked up both third and fourth, the final 2 transfer spots, with 48 Brian Carroll and Craig Nowak. And there we see in the 5th spot a Kawasaki Carter Gurney, close but no cigar, Carter. And as we look at 6th through 10th, you'll see that Anthony Pocaroba had a really bad day. All right, let's go down trackside. Ralph Shaheen is with the winner of the Consi.
Bruce, it looks like the starting area is getting real torn up down there. How's that going to affect you when you go to the main event now?
Yeah, it is getting turned up, and with the fresh grass down there, you got to kind of stay away from that. You got to get out of the gate. You got to get the first 10 feet and the last 10 feet, and then you'll be all right.
This is such a tough endurance race, and you already had to run 4 more laps than the guys you're going to see in the main. What do you do now?
I don't have a problem with that. I feel like I'm in good shape. I just got a little more time to look at the track and check some lines out.
Steve, it sounds like Bruce Stratton's already won the mental game.
Well, Ralph, if you're not mentally tough, you better not be at Daytona. Jimmy, I think you agree with that.
Yeah, I'll definitely agree with that. It's treacherous out there.
You're going to be one tired guy, but at least you're in the 125 main, and that's what you came here to accomplish.
Yeah, I'm really happy I end up making it in. It seems like every year down here at Daytona, I end up finding myself in the last chance qualifier, just like last year. And that's one place I don't like to be. It really plays mind games with me. So I'm really glad for the second place and just to get in the main event where I can try to prove something.
Is this course harder on your legs or your arms?
I believe it's harder on my arms. Speaking for myself, yeah, you're gripping really tight out there, and it's really rough and rutted, and I think most people would say their arms pump up really bad, but
Go get them.
I hope so. Thanks a lot.
Ralph?
When we come back, we will have the start of the main event. As you see, the 125 riders are out on the course for their parade lap. Stay with us. The 125 main event is coming up on American Sports Cavalcade.
Hey, it's main event time here at the Daytona 125 Supercross by Honda. I'm Steve Evans, and moments ago, my partner Ralph Shaheen had a chance to go out and take a good look at this racetrack. Let me tell you what, it makes the Baja look tame.
The flight and the landing is not the tricky part about the jumps here at Daytona. It's the takeoff area. Look at the size of the holes that have developed here at the takeoff for this double jump. You have to fight your way through these to get the proper takeoff to safely make the jumps here at Daytona.
We had to have Ralph do that piece because my big feet wouldn't have fit down inside those holes. It would have been as dramatic. All right, here we go. Who do you look for? Who do you like, Ralph?
Well, how can you not like this kid here, Ezra Lusk? I know he struggled a little bit in his heat race, Steve, but he is a champion.
And let's watch for Jimmy Button on the Suzuki number 34. The start will be all important here.
Everybody makes it down into turn one, and a couple of riders get pushed all the way out. But it's Mike Brown who gets the early jump, and he pulls out on the red Honda number 92.
And right behind him is Jimmy Button, number 34 on the Suzuki, as expected. John Dowd on the Yamaha's in there, number 16. Jeff Curry on the Kawasaki. But where is Ezra Lusk? He got a lousy start.
No sign of Ezra at all, Steve. That's Chad Pedersen on 51, sitting in 4th place. And Robbie Reynard trying to make some moves in here, but no sign of Ezra.
He is back right now in about 6th position. Not a good start for Ezra Lusk.
A good run for the number 56 bike. It was good to see him get a good jump. That's Jeff Curry on the Kawasaki. And Steve, 15 laps here, top 3 to the podium.
And right now it's Mike Brown on the Honda. Take a look here at number 16. That is John Dowd on the Yamaha. He is really on the gas. He may have been holding back a little bit in the heat.
Well, you know, you get out here at Daytona, you got 50+ thousand people sitting in the grandstands. It's the highlight of the season. This is a Super Bowl for these guys, and adrenaline will allow you to ride harder and faster than you have ever before.
And they are flying higher than they have all day today, giving gravity a bad name. And there is Dowd on that 16 bike. He is really pushing it.
Here is Dowd still running strong. He's got Curry all over the back side of him here. This is one of the best runs we've seen out of Curry all day today.
Curry on that 56 green machine. The Kawasaki trying to embarrass the Yamaha of John Dowd. That's the fight for 3rd spot. It is a beauty, but quickly, let's jump up front. There is a lead change right there. Jimmy Button on the Suzuki drives right around the Honda of Mike Brown.
He really made the whoop section work for him. He got on the gas, got way up over those whoops, and got through them quickly, and that was the difference.
All right, let's check back. John Dowd on the Yamaha number 16 has kept his 3rd place position. Jeff Curry on the Kawasaki number 56 not faring too well in all of this. As you can see, 28 Kevin Berry on the Honda has got around him and is riding away from him.
And Robbie Reynard, as Dowd goes off course for a second, a problem for Dowd. Reynard on the 33 struggling back in 6th. Now he's trying to close in on Kawasaki teammate Curry.
And it's Tim Ferry, number 28 on the Honda, who is really starting to charge here. Didn't get that great a start, and he's trying to make up for it.
There you see Reynard now closing in on Curry. Oh, and Robbie goes down. Reynard got in the whoop section, got out of his rhythm, and went down, and he is getting up slow, Steve.
One of the real favorites to win this thing, Robbie Reynard on the Kawasaki. It looks like he will be able to get it relit, but as far as winning it, I don't think so.
No, he is down and out at this point, but look at this battle for 3rd. Dowd back on his bike and running hard. He is trying to get around Ferry. Ferry struggles a little bit, gets off the line, and now Dowd takes over the position.
Boy, Dowd just flew right by Tim Ferry for that 3rd spot. But, you know, every rider has his quick part of the course.
That's right. We've noticed already today that the Honda seemed real good in the whoop sections, but that's exactly where Button made his pass for the lead.
You know one thing they all know right now? That Ezra Lusk is back there, lurking. Lusk is lurking.
It's kind of like the shark in Jaws. You know, you hear the music, and here comes Ezra.
Well, right now, Mike Brown in 2nd on the Honda is hearing the pipey sound of John Dowd's Yamaha number 16 because he's picking him up.
Dowd has really gotten back onto his rhythm. We saw him bobble earlier, and sometimes that can throw a rider off of his game, but not Dowd on this day. He has gotten himself back up and running hard.
What's neat about the 125s, they don't overpower the racetrack. You can really wick them on. Use virtually everything they've got, and they like that high RPM range. The exhaust systems are designed to make them very pipey. Oh boy, look out, Honda.
Here comes Dowd. He got through that whoop section real nicely. Oh, and another rider down, Steve.
And down hard. That is Chad Lowe on the number 97 machine. He is limping around a bit. These guys are like rodeo riders. They try to pretend they're not hurt. Sometimes you just can't. Let's have another look. Watch the number 97 bike. All alone. Whatever happens, he did it to himself. Tried to jump. Didn't quite make it. Got it high centered. And over the bars goes Chad Lowe with the bike on top of him.
And that's one of the things that'll do more damage to you. Sometimes it's not just the fall, but the fact that that couple 100-pound motorcycle chases you back down and gives you its own little licking.
Boy, it sure does. And I tell you, number 16, John Dowd on the Yamaha, he is getting some serious pressure from the Honda. Here he comes, number 28, Tim Ferry, moving in. Crowd roar. This could be a good one.
The thing about the strategy in this kind of racing, Steve, is that no two corners are the same. And every time you come around, the corner will have changed because the rust will have changed.
Mike Brown just proved that. He actually parked it in the corner, and that has really compressed it. But here, Brown goes high, gets a berm shot, accelerates out hot. This is the fight for second position.
And you can see now, and look at Ferry coming up from the backside. He's really pushing hard now, too.
Oh, yeah, Tim Ferry on the 28 Honda trying to get around Dowd on the 16 Yamaha, trying to catch him.
So far today, and here he comes to the inside. Ferry will make the move. He goes wide on the berm, gets the horsepower down, and he takes over third place.
Okay, this is just gorgeous to watch. The athleticism, the incredible part of the motorcycles is they don't break down. That's not really a factor. We haven't seen, well, maybe one bike with a spark plug problem. That's about it.
This is the area where we've seen the Hondas really excel today, is through the whoop sections, and it works there again. You see Dowd was pushing hard to make up some ground, and instead it worked against him, and he lost ground, and the two Hondas got through the whoops great. Now here goes Ferry, hard after Brown.
And listen to those snarly 125cc motorcycle engines. Two-stroke, gas and oil mixture, but they are so efficient, you've never seen any smoke out of the pipes as you would on a badly tuned bike. These are just masterpieces of machinery. Stay with us. We'll be back to Daytona. What a race.
Welcome back to the Daytona 125 Supercross by Honda. I'm Ralph Shaheen along with Steve Evans. We are in the middle of the main event for the 125s, and it is a good one.
And all eyes are on the fight for the second spot. 92, Mike Brown on the Honda. 28, Tim Ferry, another Honda. 16, John Dowd on the Yamaha. The Yamaha, the white machine. There you see reaching up for, I guess, a tear-off, Ralph, was number 28.
That's usually the best time to get it. It's really amazingly the one time when your body is doing the least, and that's when you're flying through the air like that. It's a good opportunity to take your hands off the handlebars, take a new tear-off off, and get a better view of what's up in front of you.
Now you say, who's leading, Steve and Ralph? Well, Button is leading, but he's so far up there we're having trouble finding him. But we can find number 16, John Dowd. He is still hoping to get up there for that second place spot.
These three riders here have got to be just getting beat to death physically, Steve. They have been riding so hard, forcing themselves to do things that they don't really want to do, to stay up and grouped up with each other. When you're out front like Button is, things aren't so physically demanding because you found a good rhythm and it's just flowing. When you're pushing hard to get into the contention of things, that's when you can make a mistake and override your limits.
And it may be starting to show on number 16, John Dowd. He is working so hard trying to pick up Brown and Ferry in front of him that he may be exhausting himself. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I'm wrong. Here he comes.
Well, he keeps finding little bits of energy, but you can see he's not getting over the jumps as well as the other riders. So I think ultimately you are right. I think he's having moments of grandeur where he's finding a little bit of horsepower, a little bit better line. But ultimately, the two Honda riders are much smoother.
And considering how rough this track is now, I think Tim Ferry, the 28 Honda, may have the better line of the two. Wherever he can, he goes outside onto the berms to avoid that dug-up area at the apex of the turn.
You really have to search at all times when you're out there racing, because as we said before, nothing will be the same the second time you see it.
And I'll tell you, poor Dowd, he's been in the roost of that Honda every time they go through a turn. And Mike Brown or Tim Ferry wicks it on. It's Dowd that gets a face full of dirt.
I will give him a lot of credit for hanging in there with these guys.
Whoa.
Because they have been pushing him hard. And you can see we got another rider down off to the side. And our leading group here comes racing on through. There's the move by Ferry.
Yep, Tim Ferry is now around for second position. Jimmy Button way out in front.
Dowd now trying to find a way around Brown. He just doesn't, well, there's one of the slower riders doing the smart thing, getting out of the way as these guys come racing through. Look how smooth Ferry's getting through the whoop section. And watch the difference on Dowd. See how much more his bike is dancing around on the back section of the whoops? There's our leader Button way out in front, just cruising along.
He had a very good start. His Suzuki performing perfectly. And so far, he's really not had a challenge since he's taken the lead.
And Steve, did you see that? Number 17, Yogi, creeping into the frame. Ezra Lusk on his way. He's going to challenge. And Dowd gets around Brown.
And look at Ezra Lusk. All of a sudden, he is becoming a factor. There's enough laps left for a rider of that ability to maybe pull this thing off. But I think Button might have to have a problem for that to happen.
Well, Ezra is certainly going to catch these three here and make a fight out of second place. But once he gets around these guys, the way these guys have been riding, as hard as they have, you know they're not going to just roll over and play dead and let Ezra by. They're going to make Ezra work for fourth, third, and second position.
Especially Mike Brown on the red 92 Honda. He is the next bike in front of Ezra. He is the one to impede his progress, possibly. But Ezra, he's riding like he just started now.
Yeah, he is very fast. He's certainly one of the fastest riders on the track right now, and he is catching these guys quickly.
You know, and Ezra manages to get his butt down on the seat more than almost anybody else, and that's how you get traction. If you've got a smooth area and you can get the weight down over the back wheel and wick it on, you're just going to go quicker.
These two have lost a little bit of ground to Ferry. The battle for third is just between these two here. We've got Dowd on the 16, Brown on the 92, and look at Ezra flying through that whoop section.
He got to the outside there to try to find a smooth line. I think it worked for him. Oh, yeah, he's a man with a mission. Ezra Lusk, number 17. Whoop, parked it a little bit right there, but so has everybody else that started that line. You know, let's take a look back at the start to find out just what happened to Ezra. There he is right there in that circle, number 17.
He gets sent around to the outside here, Steve. He's fighting his way through, and he gets hung up, has to go around the bales. He actually goes up onto the banking of the tri-oval here of the NASCAR Speedway. That is definitely the long way around.
Oh, boy, and did it hurt him. But right now, he's fifth and looking for more, and there is Mike Brown just in front of him.
Look at how that bike just squirts off the corner.
Jumping higher and longer than anybody else on the racetrack right now is Ezra Lusk. A second place would be a very good afternoon considering his start. If he can get second spot, he'll be a happy guy.
Well, he's got fourth now as he gets around Brown in that whoop section. So next up on the hit parade will be number 16, John Dowd.
And it's got to be tough on a guy like Ezra because he knows not only his team and a lot of the crowd here and even us. We have said this is the guy to beat. We put him on this pedestal and he's trying to live up to it.
Yeah, and the toughest part of all is going to be that his teammate is his leader right now, and that's Jimmy Button. So those two will know each other's tricks real well if they do get a chance to run at each other.
And here's a guy, Mike Brown, on that 9200 that has nothing to apologize for. He ran a strong second and held Ezra off as long as he possibly could, and he's by no means given up now. Dowd, however, he could be in trouble.
He is in big trouble, Steve. I mean, Ezra went by him like he was a back marker there.
Got to be demoralizing. Ezra Lusk, just 18 years of age, actually a couple years older than most of the guys he's racing, but he is just flying. We apologize to the fans of Jimmy Button, but this is the fun guy to watch right now, even though Button's out in front.
Boy, but you know, that's the only problem when you run that dominantly. The TV cameras go away because they got to find something else to show you.
Great sprint car driver, Sammy Swindell, came to me one time. He said, Evans, how do I get more TV? I said, don't lead so much.
And Ezra is doing it the high-profile way. You have a tough start, and then you work your way back up front.
Boy, he has tremendous confidence in that motorcycle. He can put it anywhere he wants it at any given time. Just unbelievable athlete.
Dowd, I think, is just tired, Steve. He is hanging on. He's looking around to see where Mike Brown is. As you see one of the course workers pulling the hay bale back in. Dowd is doing his best to try to hang on to 4th place.
You mentioned the course workers. Let's give a tip of the hat to them. They've done a great job at protecting the down riders with the yellow flags, putting the course markers back up. Great job, guys. All right, Ezra Lusk is running in 3rd. And here is your leader, Jimmy Button. He landed hard.
Boy, that had to hurt.
You land on the front wheel like that, it tries to pull your arms right out of the socket. Stay with us, everyone. Great racing in Daytona continues right after this. We're back at the Daytona 125 Supercross by Honda. That is our leader, Jimmy Button, number 34. But Ralph Shaheen, he is being caught. He is not riding as quickly as he was earlier on.
Tim Ferry is reeling him in on the Honda number 28. I wonder if that big hit that he took hurt him a little bit, Steve.
I don't know. It would hurt any mortal man.
It looked like it really might have knocked the wind out of him. We'll see if Jimmy Button can regain his composure here. He is still riding well. He is not losing a ton of ground every second, but he is definitely slowed down some.
Oh, yeah, as if his body just is saying, wait a minute, I can't take too much more of this. He doesn't even appear to be totally in control of the motorcycle over that last jump. Oh, and he's off the track. He is down.
That's amazing, Steve. He's able to get the bike back up, but the question is, how much ground will he lose? You see Eichel going around, but he's a back marker. How about Ferry and Lusk now? Here they come. Can he get started? Yes, he does.
And the crowd in Daytona is on their feet.
That's Ferry right there on the red 28, and Ezra is right behind him. And now, that will rejuvenate these two because they see a shot at maybe winning in Daytona.
Especially Tim Ferry on the 28 Honda. It's like a coyote hunting down an injured rabbit here right now. He knows that Button is not as fast as he should be.
Button's even got a piece of the bags that wrap the hay bales dragging from the front of the motorcycle. That shouldn't be too much of a problem. It'd be a bigger problem if it was on the backside and involved his brakes. But there's Ezra Lusk, and he's in the thick of this thing too, Steve, and he's been one of the fastest riders all day.
That's right. While Ferry is so intent on gunning down Button, you better remember Ezra Lusk is coming. I'll tell you, I think Ferry missed a gear right there.
He did bobble for just a second, and look at how much ground Ezra made up at that moment.
So a misshift may have cost Tim Ferry some space here. Here is Ezra Lusk. Lusk on the inside.
Ezra makes the move, and Steve, he is definitely the smoothest rider out of this group.
He looked over his shoulder as if to say, so long, sucker.
Ferry, it bobbled a little bit, and a Button is shaken. He is trying to get himself mentally back under composure, and Ezra is without a doubt the smoothest rider of the three.
He almost took it off the course there as it gets scared the corner work. He backed up about 10 feet. Scared me too. Boy, this kid is riding, and the crowd is with him.
Now the two Suzuki teammates getting set to go to war here. These two have been battling back and forth, two of the best 125 riders in the business, and these Suzukis are going to get a workout.
There's no such thing as teammates in a situation like this, not at Daytona. It's mano a mano, one-on-one.
You're flying the same factory colors, but that's the extent of it.
Well, I tell you, Button appears to have his composure back. You see that? As if to say, hey, you think I'm hurt? Watch this. I'll style this way. I'll style this way. Take lots of pictures.
That's the great thing about being 17, 18 years of age. You know, your body can take a lot of abuse, and once you clear the cobwebs out of your head and you get your rhythm back, you're right back at it.
It was as if he was sending a message to Ezra, airmail.
Oh, yeah. There's no way Jimmy Button is going to let Ezra Lusk just walk away from him with this win. This is the Daytona Supercross, and for these guys, this is the big one for the year. If you win this and no other one, you are one of the big dogs. And Jimmy Button is going to want to win this. Winning the 125 Supercross at Daytona will do a lot to further your career in this form of racing.
And Jimmy Button has to know that the only reason he doesn't have a 3/4 of a lap lead is his own fault. He miscued a jump, landed on the back wheel. We thought maybe he hurt something in his upper body. He slowed down, he fell down, but now he's just gritting it out.
He is definitely a real tough competitor. Jimmy Button is working that motorcycle. He's got his weight balance nice and even over the center of the motorcycle. Ezra, though, boy, he is so quick, Steve.
Yeah, but they took two different lines through the turn, and neither gained anything by it. I mean, it was just amazing. One guy went high on the berm. Ezra went down low and pinched off the corner, and there was no advantage either way.
It's like in drag racing. There's quick and there's fast. Jimmy Button seems to be fast. Ezra seems to be quick. Ezra's getting from corner to corner quickly, and Button just seems to be overall fast around the racetrack.
And Ezra lost his riding on sheer instinct, going as fast as he can do, his body almost unconsciously telling him what to do with that motorcycle. He's become one with the machine, and that's what it takes. Whoa!
Now, Jimmy Button definitely knows that it's Ezra behind him. The crew chiefs have been standing along. Oh, and look at Ezra! Ezra was off that motorcycle, both feet flying. He actually bumped into Jimmy Button. They both stayed on top of the bikes. This is just unbelievable.
The best 125cc main event this crowd has ever seen, and they're responding to it. I'm sure the riders can hear the crowd right now.
Oh, that is driving these two without a doubt. They both want to win this. They know all eyes are focused on them. Neither one of them wants to let his teammate win. They know they've got to win this thing for Suzuki. They're not going to try to take each other out here. They both know that a 1-2 finish for Suzuki is very important, but they both want to be the one, not the two.
There again, you see the two totally different lines. No help.
And there's the quickness of Ezra. See how much ground he made up through the whoop section?
What a show. Side by side. Ezra going inside. Button fends him off. Oh, Ezra's down.
They got together, Steve. They got together in that corner. That was a clean move. That's just a normal, hard-running Supercross move, a blocking pass. And that is what happened, and they got together.
White flag is out, and right now, young Mr. Button knows that if he can just stay on top of this machine, he can win Daytona.
At this point, as quick as Ezra has been, I don't think he's going to have a chance of catching back up with just half a lap or so to go. Ezra, unbelievable. That he got together. Now he's going to have to fend off Ferry.
How about this? Look at Ferry watching all of that, enjoying it from the catbird seat. And now he's part of the fray with Ezra for second.
Boy, Ferry is really pushing. He sniffs that second place and knows that there would be nothing better for him than to put that bright red Honda in the middle of those two Suzuki.
That's what he's trying to do right now, Rupp. You're absolutely right, is break up a 1-2 finish. Oh, Ezra, how do you do that?
That triple made the difference right there. Ezra able to get out, get a nice big run off that triple, and that gave him a little bit of ground.
The way he nosed that motorcycle down in midair. That is a superstar of the future, folks, in any motorcycle activity he cares to participate in.
Jimmy Button just a few turns and a couple of jumps away. You can see the gap back to Ezra. And now Ezra with a bit of breathing room between him and Mr. Ferry.
That's your leader, number 34, Jimmy Button. Up a little more forward on the motorcycle, not wanting to land on that back wheel again. And there is the winner of the 125 Supercross by Honda on a Suzuki, Jimmy Button. Ezra lost, the crowd giving him a tremendous ovation. What a show he put on, and holding his arm or his shoulder is Jimmy Button.
There's Robbie Reynard, the young up-and-comer that we expected so much out of, finding his way around to finish off this event. Tough day for him. That's where he went down earlier.
Almost a lap behind is Reynard, actually. And here is a true champion, even though he finished second. Ezra Lusk up on the bank, saluting the Suzuki crowd, saying, sorry I didn't win it. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back to talk to him.
The Daytona 125 Supercross by Honda is history. And what a great battle it was. Suzuki takes the top two with Button and Lusk. Ferry hangs on for third. Dowd and Brown round out the top five. And there you see the back half of the top 10. Well, our winner is down in victory lane, and he's standing by my partner, Steve Evans.
Jimmy, the pace you set early on was unbelievable.
Yeah, I got out to a good start and a good pace. But then, I don't know, maybe 6 laps from the end of the race, I was going through the whoops. I overextended my arm, I got a bad shoulder, and I over-rotated out. So and every time I come through any set of whoops, my shoulder keep popping out every time. And then when it would pop back in, I'd be fine, but every time it'd go out almost every single lap, so.
Did you and Esri get together on that last lap?
Actually, yeah, I went into the corner. I didn't try to take him out. I just tried to block past him. I think he hit my wheel. He's real high on the berm.
Yeah.
And just fell over. I wasn't trying to be dirty or rough or anything, but I'm just glad I got the win.
Your arms have to feel like dish rags right now.
No, not too bad, actually. Just my shoulder really hurts. My arms will probably hurt later once it goes away, but I'm happy.
That is a new definition of playing in pain. Ralph?
Well, Ezra, what an amazing ride. I mean, you were really pushing hard to catch up to him. The physical endurance that you exerted out there had to be tremendous. Tell me, first of all, how you fell.
I know I got a terrible start. I don't know if I fell at the beginning too, but I just bumped a lot of people, you know, and all the guys, they're just trying to get tough, you know. It's getting midways of the series. I've won every race, and they're trying to get tough, and I guess I'm just going to have to show them, you know, what Ezra Lusk is. You know, I've watched Jeff Ford and all those guys, and they've crashed, and they've come all the way back up. So, you know, if I'm going to be a champion, then I need to learn to do that too, and this was a good experience for me, you know. I'm happy with coming up to second. I almost won, but, you know, me and Jimmy got tangled up down there, and that's cool, you know. It's the first race we've had together, and this isn't quite a Supercross track, but, you know, there's more races, and we'll see.
Tell me about the incident between you and Jimmy down there. What happened?
Well, I had him passed. I railed the outside, and he was into the inside, and he just come in and just closed the door is what they call it, cut me off, and I really wasn't expecting it, you know, and I clipped his rear wheel, and I fell, but that's okay.
I tell you what, Steve, we talked about handing out grades at the beginning of the show. He might have finished second, but that was an A-plus effort by Ezra Lusk.
Tim, as a Florida rider, you had to be proud to be part of one of the best 125cc races we've ever seen.
Yeah, I felt really good, and it's pretty good for me to run with a Suzuki factory rider, so I'm on the podium again, and everything's getting better.
A lot of those cheers we hear are for you, young man.
Yeah, I got most of my family and friends up there in the stands. I like to thank all of them for coming out.
Is this really encouraging for you in your career to know that you can do it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, last year I didn't have such a good year. This year I started off a little slow, but everything's coming on strong.
Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
Take the podium. Ralph?
With his shoulder popping in and out, Jimmy Button wins the Daytona 125.